Gates Adams here on behalf of Apex Trader Funding. I'm here today with Keith. Keith, how you doing today?
Good, sir. How are you?
I'm doing great, thank you. Well, thanks for taking a few minutes to chat with us today. Obviously, we've got you here because you've had the opportunity to experience some success through Apex Trader Funding, which of course means money in the bank. So congratulations on your payout. So let's start off. Let's get a little bit of maybe kind of a background on you and your trading as far as kind of where you are in your journey and in your process. How long have you actually been trading?
I'd say I've been trading maybe 4 years at this point.
Okay.
Started out with crypto. I've traded some Forex.
Okay.
Been trading futures for maybe about a year now.
Okay. How did you end up landing on futures? What brought you into the futures side of things?
Well, on the crypto side, as you probably know, the brokers can be a bit sketchy, and so you're often getting slipped, on your entries, and it's just not really the best environment. So
Sure.
so then I was looking to to trade futures. Actually got set up with Trade
Okay.
and had some success with them, but have also taken some pretty substantial losses at times as well.
Sure.
Trading my own money.
Right.
So so that's kind of how I got in futures.
So how long have you actually been in the futures game at this point?
Less than a year.
Okay, so you're still green's not the right word. I think a year's a solid time to especially if you've got a background and foundation in trading.
Yeah.
But that's definitely not been the majority of your time trading.
Right.
So at what point did you hear about trader funding just as a general concept?
I was in a trader Discord, and it was mentioned. There were a few of your competitors mentioned, and Apex was one of them. Ended up landing on Apex and giving you guys a try. And
Awesome.
I'd have to say that I feel like Apex is probably the most trustworthy, if I can use that word.
I like it.
You know,
I agree with it.
because the one thing that's really important is you have to have the expectation that you're going to be paid.
Right.
And all this is for naught. And I think, well, at least with Apex, I've had a few payouts. They've been fast.
Mm-hmm.
And so they've kind of earned that.
Sure.
They've kind of earned that in my mind, whereas others, maybe their system isn't even really geared toward payouts. Maybe you have to submit a ticket and wait, and it's not automated like Apex.
Right.
So, I just feel like Apex is really the best game in town right now, especially with the newer rules, the funding payout, and 7 days to get funded.
We do get a lot of comments on the new adjustments and changes.
Yes.
I know that was what a lot of people were looking for in terms of shorter time to pass, shorter time to be able to actually get paid out, less trading days, things like that. So I know that there's been a lot of talk and conversations about that. People seem to be very, very pleased. So we do love hearing that. Now let's take the different companies and everything aside. When you first heard about trader funding, when it's just the concept of this first hit your radar, what were your initial thoughts? I mean, what did you think about the idea of a company funding your trading activity?
Well, I don't think it's not unheard of. I mean,
No.
certainly these these companies exist. I think what's different with Apex and some of your competitors is that you're essentially paying a fee to get the opportunity to prove yourself as a viable trader. And then whereas other maybe prop firms, it's more of maybe an employer-employee relationship.
Right.
Now, as
Yeah, I
far
think everybody's
as
kind of got their different structures and things like that. But yeah, I
right,
mean, it's
right, yeah,
ultimately, um, and I think that's where you start to see a lot of the differences between the different firms is what is their expectation versus what is it that you want to do. How have you found the rules trading with Apex to suit your needs or your desires as a trader?
well, obviously the the shorter time to get funded, um, the shorter time to get a payout.
Yeah,
And now we have multiple payouts a month, so that's um, that's encouraging.
sure.
um, and then I think the other thing it just makes trader funding stand out in my mind is, for someone that's taking a that has taken a high or mid 5-figure loss in my career before trading, is that you're getting this education, if you will. You're paying for your education, and you're actually risking something, so it's real. It's not
Right.
like if you're just doing a sim account, in the back of your mind that it just doesn't matter what you do, right?
There-
you
There's
know if
no
you
bite.
right, if you let the account run, an extra 20 points against you, you don't feel it.
Right.
And but with trader funding, you get the benefit of getting that education, and getting to those highs and lows in
Sure.
trading as you really would
Mhm.
if you were trading your own money, and getting the benefit of trading your own money
Mhm.
without having to risk your own money, without a black swan, something happens, and some random news event, and we gap down 50 points, and you've blown your account up.
Right. And I think we've definitely all been there in that moment of my account's done. Do I put more in or is that it?
Right,
You know?
right,
And yeah, and I think that's ultimately one of the determining factors as to whether or not someone trades for 4 years and starts seeing the level of success, the consistency, the income,
mhm,
because ultimately that's what it's all about. And in the early stages, it's very rare that someone sees an income per se, or an income, so to speak, in the early days. But yeah, you talk about the fact that yes, there's that bite, there's a little skin in the game, but the difference is we're talking about dozens or a couple $100, not, as you mentioned, 5 figures in many cases,
right,
that's on the line.
right, and
Psychological,
and and tied up, money
and
that's tied up, and
tied up
and
for
you
sure.
really can't do anything with it. You have to have it
Exactly.
there for margin. And
Absolutely.
so, yeah, I think it's hugely advantageous.
So
uh,
psychologically speaking, what do you think's the big difference trading funded account versus your own cash?
um, I think it's freeing in many ways,
Mhm.
because the worst thing that can happen to you with the funded account is that, especially after you've taken your initial payout.
Mhm.
So say, now your low water mark is at $50,100,
Mhm.
and you've made, you've maybe you've made 3,000, and you've gotten your first $2,000 payout, and you don't have a lot of room there. you know
Right.
um, you could easily, but the worst thing could happen is that you know you blow that account, and you could just get another one funded in 7 days. That's really the worst thing that could happen to you.
Right.
um, Whereas trading real money, that's obviously a very different ballgame.
Mhm.
So I think there's just a lot of advantages, especially early on. If you're not sharing any of the money, and
Mhm.
and from my experience, it doesn't even appear as if deal is taking a cut of the funds that they're sending to you. So
Yeah, I, I
it's
I don't know how that works. If they
yeah,
do, they definitely take it from the company side because your payout is your payout.
yeah, it
Right.
is. Yeah,
That's
and
nice.
I
Yeah.
expected, yeah, I actually thought that I would probably, get just a tad less as
Mhm.
deal, took out their piece, but that wasn't the case at all.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like you have all these advantages and just very few disadvantages.
Right. Right. Excellent. Now, have you had an opportunity to interact much with the customer support over at Apex Trader Funding?
Uh, I think the biggest testament I can give is I haven't needed to. Right.
Excellent answer. I love that.
I mean, I think that's the biggest compliment I can give, right?
Sure.
Because
Sure.
the funding payouts are automated, and
Mhm.
you're interacting with that stuff in the website,
Mhm.
scheduling your payouts on the website. Yeah, I have not had the opportunity or,
That's great.
to, yeah.
That's awesome. So now, are you just trading one funded account, or do you have multiple at this point?
I typically will try to keep one funded account and uh, multiple challenge accounts, and
Okay.
then look to copy trade those.
Okay.
That's the game. I think that's ideally where I want to be, is have
Sure.
maybe a primary parent funded account with children underneath that are taking maybe half the risk,
Mhm.
that sort of thing.
So it's just kind of spreading it out a little bit where you,
Yes.
yeah,
Hmm.
so one hit doesn't hit so hard, and
Right.
the wins definitely add up much faster.
Hmm.
So that's excellent. Well, if you're in an opportunity to chat with somebody who is just kind of getting started out down the road of being a funded trader and moving into this process, what do you think is the biggest piece of advice you can give somebody that's starting out?
Um, I think be patient. Be patient with yourself and your own failures. Your education is going to cost a little bit,
Sure. Sure.
and it's going to be a heck of a lot easier to swallow, taking a less than $100 hit on your account versus, what you could take if you're trading a real account. So it
Certainly.
gives you the opportunity to get out there and to fail, uh, maybe fail forward if there's such a thing, right?
Right. And absolutely. I think that my experience with trading has always been that everything is a next step. And every time you change the dynamics at all, the results are going to change at least for a minute. So when you go
Absolutely.
from sim to evaluation, evaluation to funded, or if you just go from sims to straight, trading your own money, whatever the case is, that shift in dynamic definitely has an impact. And in that transitional phase, there's going to be a noticeable difference. Well, when that impact is smaller, the hope at least is that so is the change to the results, and you can move forward and pass through that
Hmm.
quicker. And
Yeah.
I know that there's a lot of different reasons that people move into being a funded trader versus the alternative. I think everybody's kind of got their own thing, but
Hmm.
without a doubt, there's some absolute consistencies, and I think that's for sure one of them. So, well, I sure appreciate it. Any last minute thoughts that you have for everybody out there?
I would say definitely give it a shot. Um, it gives you an opportunity to work on your edge, and you're able to limit, your exposure to the market,
Right.
um, by doing it, through a trader funding program. So
Wonderful.
highly recommend it.
Excellent. Well, Keith, I sure appreciate your time today. This has been a lot of fun. I think that these are just such a great opportunity for especially people who are just finding out about funding in the first place to just really get an idea of what it's all about and what the opportunity is. And so we definitely appreciate the time. This has been a lot of fun. I've really enjoyed doing these, and you and so many of the other traders that have just joined in have been so gracious and just being there for us and for other traders that are out there. So thank you for that.
You're quite welcome.
Excellent. Well, you enjoy the rest of your afternoon and going into the weekend. I hope you have a wonderful, solid green week at the end of the week, and we're going to continue to do some of these. So maybe in the next month or two, we can do a recap and see how the progress is going. If that sounds good.
Absolutely.
Excellent. Well, Keith, thanks so much for your time. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon, and we'll chat soon.